picking up from where we left off last year is the roller rink with this project of kind of updating the toy dock area. And really, I kind of finished it last year, but it kind of bled into the next year, working on this clock project with this ship's wheel. I kind of talked him into it, and it was a lot of fun and everything. It was a lot more work, though, than I was expecting. Many more hours, and I was a little nervous they'd get kind of mad about it because, well, more hours means more money. Luckily, they loved the clock, and even though I had to get creative at times, like trying to figure out how to hide the actual clock mechanism, that was actually Marie. She found this, I guess it's called like a center channel, I believe, for like lights on the ceiling, and just this incredibly long threaded bolt, and boom, Bob's your uncle. And I'm pretty happy with how the clock turned out. And the overall toy dock transformation, I think, is quite amazing, if I do say so myself. At my other job, they were setting up for this other neon party, and actually I don't have any other video of the other lights I put up, but these light curtains that I had to hang in looping kind of succession on the ceiling was that was kind of tricky as well. And that leads us to Broadway season, and Cats was the first Broadway. Marie was invited to this Broadway as well, so she's now a professional in the Broadway world. I don't usually take cameras or video equipment or anything like that to any kind of professional gigs in the Broadway world. They tend to frown upon it. And obviously, what you're seeing now has nothing to do with Cats or Broadway or any kind of other production. This is actually me doing some really early trail riding. I think this was like March, I want to say, to get ready for what you're seeing here now is a trip that I've been planning for like the past 2 years to leave from Midland to Mackinac City. Well, actually, just below it, it's a place called Carp Lake. And right now, you're seeing snippets from a music video I made, which is on my channel. And the overall project is also on my channel called Making the Bohemian Highway. There is like 10 plus days of all sorts of crazy weather, everything from freezing rain and snow to actually like 80-degree weather, I think, towards the end of things. If any of the snippets that you're seeing here kind of interest you, you should go and check out the other videos on my channel. Again, it's called Making the Bohemian Highway. It's not just all fun and games for me. I got to do a lot of work, so I invested in a carpet cleaner to do work once again for Roller Arena. And this is actually one of the service entrance areas, so not all the floors were quite this bad, but nonetheless, it still turned out fantastic. And yes, at the Roller Arena, I am still doing the videography for their roller derby events, and I'd like to lay claim to this video gem here, but no, this was actually got by a very good friend of mine, the lovely and talented Miss Bailey Banks. Which, that's not her. There she is. She moved downstate, and we miss her dearly. And actually, at the same event was Marie's very first time in a derby event. This is not the derby that she usually trains for. This is Chicago style. It's a little bit faster and quite a bit more aggressive. And it looks like she had an absolute wonderful time. Now back to home time with more home projects. Here I'm like reframing the inside of a window frame, if that made sense, to run a smokestack out of it, which I've done in the past for a few years now, if I can talk. And now I'm upgrading it to a double-walled insulated stainless steel smokestack, and I want to be able to utilize the other half of this giant window. And that's why I'm kind of like reframing this thing and using L brackets and 2x2s, so that way I'm not drilling into and putting holes in this plastic framing because I'm afraid it's going to crack and make all sorts of problems. The window itself was having some issues with some rot, so I cut out all the rot and reframed everything and retrimmed everything in cedar, and to make things last even longer, any of the exposed wood for like the silver that you see is topside boat paint, and everything else was then covered in like an oil stain. There's actually a lot of videos that I'm working on for all of these things that you're seeing right now, and I had to put off some maintenance on the bike after my trip, and really this is the only thing that was like kind of amazing-ish, like badly beat up or anything, which is kind of amazing actually, man. The Honda Super Cub is just a beast. And yet more work, and yet again for the roller arena. They wanted some storage for behind the toy dock, so we picked up like this prefab, I think it's like kitchen cabinetry, and it didn't have a countertop, so once again my favorite thing in the world, plywood, and bam, we got ourselves some countertops. What you're looking at now is the new location for the Creative 360. It's yet again another big church, much bigger church. At this location, we wanted to put in some track lighting, but the bid for fresh track lighting was thousands and thousands of dollars. And the Creative 360 is a nonprofit, and we certainly couldn't afford that. So I had to come up with the idea to just take out the track lighting from our old location and scavenge some wood from some of our other demo projects that we had did at the new location, and put all the old lights on just plug-in Edisons. And because I'm not an electrician, I can't legally run it, and just throw it up. It'll be just that simple. and figure out how to put a 25-foot pole in the air by myself. So after some head scratching, I think things turned out pretty good. Yet more home projects I'm working on here is using some nylon straps for some hinges for stands for some solar panels. The solar panel setup I have now is a little cheesy and downright kind of ugly. So these panels will hopefully not only make things look better, but also hopefully maximize what energy these solar panels can get. A lot of these projects I actually also made into videos. I just haven't really edited and brought out yet. And even some of the stuff I've cleaned up some of the wiring and whatnot. Oh yes, there's much much more solar projects. This is what I kind of call a mothership, where the main hub of all my solar panels feed into. And I think it's a 1,000 watt inverter that wasn't just quite doing its gig no more. So I put on a different 3,000 watt inverter and also a different regulator. And then I got the DC powered fridge, which turned into a bit of a fiasco because the battery pack thing that I originally bought for it was garbage. So then I ran out and bought a car battery thing, which really was dumb and it really didn't work, except it kind of did for a minute. And then I had to buy the proper battery for it, and it was a whole thing. But I still kept the car battery to run these LED lights on the back half of the house. The front half of the house, I have LED lights rigged up too, but that runs off of mothership because you can only run DC power for so far. Hey, look, holidays. So at our new location, I was asked to help do some holiday decorations on our stage, and this is what I came up with. And Marie gave me a hand with that too. And also being the holiday season means it's time to build a holiday set over at the Center for the Arts. And all the snippet tidbits that you're seeing now are builds for White Christmas, which was quite a beast. And I didn't really build a lot of the things that you are looking at right now. I just helped either finish things or tweak them or paint them or whatever. A lot of the building was done by some of the greatest volunteers that a person could ask for, Rob and Thor. And I don't usually bring cameras to work, but today I knew the volunteers would be there, and I wanted to give a nod to especially the band that just walked in the frame, Thor. And yes, by the way, that is his real name. And the dude is amazing. He will come in at a drop of hat to help, and he's just a genius. He's actually an engineer in hydrodynamics. So a little area that I was working on while they were working on a roof is this little escape way. I had to build a ladder forward and a little platform, and so that way they could escape in the darkness. Because this whole stage rotates, and there's a whole lot to explain to the way the escape works. But luckily, it worked out. There was a little kerfuffle with the hiding wall thing, whatever, either which way. You have no idea what I'm talking about. So let's try to walk away from that and continue this segue that I'm walking towards. This thing right here, I also really didn't build. It's called a poof. And even though I didn't build it, I had to figure out how to upholster it. And I've done some upholstery, but not a whole lot. And certain things didn't work out, like the way the buttons were supposed to go on for dimpling. So we just used some screws and washers and glued the buttons on top of them. And we had to still build a bunch of other stuff too for a barn and not just the inside piece that you've seen before. And during all this time, the Oak Ridge boys came through on the other side. They have a bigger stage to work on. So I worked that, and Marie was excited about it. So my awesome boss got us some tickets. So I watched the show after loading them in, and then after watching the show, I loaded them out. And around, I think it was the same week, actually, seemingly, the production was running for White Christmas, and everything was great. The cast was great. I was really impressed by the costuming, and really not much to complain about. Even in the reviews, it was great reviews. The only thing that the reviews really complained about was set design. They said was a little amateurish. So you can't win them all, babu. So that's it. That's kind of the run of my year in a nutshell. There was a lot of other little things here and there, and practically everything I talked about or showed will be in episodes that I'm either have worked on or working on. So until next time, take care.
I can do that, I guess. It will work. It won't be so bad. We'll find out.